from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's your national news broadcast here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira.
And I am Malsha Dharmavardhana, starting with your headlines tonight. The President says global disparities between developing and developed nations have grown due to technology gaps and concerns of weapons of mass destruction. IMF says Sri Lanka's economy has entered into the avenue of progress. The police officer suspect for the Nara shooting has been remanded. Minister Bandula says that the stalled development projects will recommence in February. The Election Commissioner General says the presidential election will be held definitely in this year. 12 students and 2 teachers killed in boat capsize in India. On to those and other stories in detail now, starting with your local stories. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says global disparities between developing and developed nations have grown due to technological gaps and concerns of weapons of mass destruction.
Now, the President's strong and united non-aligned organization to create a better world. The President made these remarks addressing the 19th Non-Alignment State Leaders Summit in Kampala in Uganda today. The summit is being held this year under the title of Widening the Cooperation for Shared Global Prosperity. State leaders and representatives of 120 member countries have joined the session that began under the patronage of President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni. The President also stressed that the non-aligned movement should become the highest membered organization in the Global South with reinterpretation of its aims to suit the evolution of a multipolar world. The President pointed out that in this transformation, member countries should not be involved in disputes among great powers and express their objections for the negative influence made by the superpowers to annex member countries. The non-aligned movement should contribute to build a multipolar world in order to achieve the aspirations of solving the political, economic, social and climatic problems. The summit will end tomorrow.
Now, the International Monetary Fund says that Sri Lanka's economy is entering into an avenue of progress due to the positive economic reforms followed by Sri Lanka's government. IMF representatives point out that completing the debt restructuring process through entering into final agreement with the official creditors is very much important for Sri Lanka's economic sustainability.
We were here from January 11th to today, the 19th. The economic reform program implemented by the Sri Lankan authorities is yielding the first signs of recovery. Real GDP recorded positive growth of 1.6% year on year in the third quarter of 2023, which is the first expansion in 6 consecutive quarters. Shortages of essentials have eased and inflation remains contained. Gross international reserves increased by $2.5 billion during 2023, and preliminary data point to improved fiscal revenue collections during the fourth quarter of 2023. However, challenges remain as these improvements need to translate into improved living conditions for Sri Lanka's people. In this context, sustaining the reform momentum and ensuring timely implementation of all program commitments are critical to rebuilding confidence and putting the recovery on a firm footing that will benefit all people. Swift progress towards the introduction of a progressive property tax is key to ensuring fair burden sharing while sustaining the revenue-based consolidation. Tax policy measures need to be accompanied by strengthening tax administration removing tax exemptions and actively eliminating tax evasion to make reforms more sustainable and to further build confidence among Sri Lanka's creditors to regain that sustainability, to gain their support. Building on the central bank's success in taming inflation, future monetary policy decisions should remain prudent with a focus on keeping inflation expectations well anchored. Against continued uncertainty, it remains important to continue rebuilding external buffers through strong reserve accumulation and protecting the poor and the vulnerable through improved targeting and better coverage of cash transfers remains critical. To safeguard the stability of the financial sector and bolster its capacity to support economic growth, the authorities need to urgently finalize amendments to the Banking Act in line with their commitment under the IMF-supported program, implement bank recapitalization plans, and strengthen financial supervision and crisis management frameworks. Following the publication of the IMF Governance Diagnostic Report, it is now imperative for the authorities to adopt their own action plan for implementing the recommendations in the report beyond the priority commitments under the EFF arrangement. At the same time, ensuring an enabling environment for governance and transparency reforms to take place is key to bolstering public confidence and facilitating implementation of these important efforts. The authorities have made commendable progress with putting debt on a path towards sustainability. The execution of the domestic debt restructuring was an important milestone. A swift completion of final agreements with official creditors and reaching a resolution with external private creditors remain critical. Progress in meeting key commitments under the IMF-supported program will be formally assessed in the context of the second review of the EFF arrangement alongside the forthcoming 2024 Article 4 consultation, which will assess Sri Lanka's economic health. With this, we would like to thank the authorities for the excellent collaboration during the mission, including during the mission's visit to the northern and eastern provinces. The visit enriched our understanding of the challenges as well as the potential of Sri Lanka. We reaffirm our commitment to support Sri Lanka for full economic recovery from the crisis.
When we come for our missions, we mostly interact with authorities, private sectors, CSOs here in Colombo. But at every opportunity that we do get, we try to get out of Colombo and see the other regions. On our previous staff visit, we actually went to Galle and saw some of the tea plantations, cinnamon industries there. And it also gave us a little bit of insight about how the workers that work on these packaging industries, about their lifestyles, the future for their children. And of course that enlightens us about how the economy is functioning. And then we also had the fortunate opportunity to visit Dambulla and Sigiriya, so a different part of Sri Lanka, which also is quite tourism dependent. This time, we went to the eastern province and the northeastern province, so we're trying to get different flavors of Sri Lanka. This time we were quite lucky that when we went to Trincomalee, we were able to see some of the new development projects that the region is thinking about. Our first day there, we heard about the floods, and so we understood about many challenges that Sri Lanka is facing, including from climate change. We also learned about the plans that the region has to help itself develop more. So for example, we went to the Trincomalee Port Harbor, one of the deepest in the world, and we saw the potential that this harbor has and how it could help generate income for the region. Then we went to Jaffna, and again, we talked to the people there, and we heard about the challenges they have been facing, and yet we also learned about the resilience of the Sri Lankan people. Or through even smaller enterprises, Sri Lanka can find its niche in the global market, and for us, that was quite heartening to see.
Now in more local news, the sub-inspector who was arrested in suspect of the police shooting at Nara area has been remanded until the 23rd of this month. Now he was produced before the Nara Magistrates Court and the magistrate ordered him to be remanded. A driver was killed by a police shooting occurred at the Dam Palace area in Nara. Following the incident, a chaotic situation occurred in front of the Nara police station. Our correspondent said that a large crowd of victims, relations and villagers gathered in front of the police station in a violent manner. The mob has also damaged the gates and some properties of the police station. Accordingly, police had to call an additional team of police STF officials to control the situation. The victim was killed by an accidental fire of a weapon belonging to a police officer. When the team of police officers in Nara was conducting a search operation last evening close to the Nara town, police had ordered to stop a small lorry passing by. However, the lorry did not heed the call and the two police officers had chased the lorry by a police motorbike. They have stopped the lorry at the Dam Palace junction and attempted to check the lorry. The weapon of the sub-inspector accidentally fired at the time, killing the driver of the lorry on the spot. According to the police, the victim is a 40-year-old resident of the Alawa area. Naramal police have arrested the suspected sub-inspector and the police constable.
Now, the Commissioner General of Elections, Saman Sri Ratnapriya, says that the presidential election will be definitely held during this year. At a press briefing held today, he said that the relevant funds have been allocated from this budget. Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sri Ratnapriya said that the President's term of office will end on the 18th of November this year. According to the Constitution, the presidential election will be held before a period of 1 month to end the term of office of the President. The financial grants needed for elections usually are included in the budget of each year and are allocated to the Treasurer. Accordingly, the estimated cost of 10 billion rupees for the election this year should be released to the Election Commission. Accordingly, the presidential election should be held within this year and the authority to announce the date is vested with the Elections Commission.
Now, the leader of the National People's Power, Anurukumara Dissanayake, met with the Mahanayaka Theros of the Malvat and Askiriya chapters. He explained the stance of the NPP over the current political situation in the country to the Mahanayaka Theros. NPP leader Anurukumara Dissanayake came to the Askiriya Mahaviharaya and met the Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Jnanaratana Thera and received blessings. They held a mutual discussion as well. Later, Anurukumara Dissanayake came to the Malvatta Mahaviharaya and met the Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Mahanayaka Thera. Executive members of the NPP, K.D. Lalkanta, was also present at this meeting.
Now, the 50th anniversary of the Ceylon Socialist Labourers Union was held at the Kotte Town Hall today under the patronage of the chairman of the union, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. The 10 proposals, including reduction of increased water and electricity tariffs, redemption of pensions, gratuities from taxes, providing a suitable salary for estate workers, and confirmation of labour rights and for women were presented to the anniversary convention. It was also stressed the need to form a tri-party summit to solve the problems between employees and workers. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that it is the need to enhance the livelihood of needy people so they could be more benefited. Therefore, a tri-party agreement should be formed to safeguard the rights of both employers and employees. The aim of the trade union should be for the winning demands of the workers, but not to go against the government. The justifiable demand should be met through the negotiations. Vice Chairman of the Mahajana Eksat Peramuna, State Minister Sisira Jayakodi, Deputy Secretary Parliamentarian Yadamini Gunawardena expressed their views at the convention. Chairman of the Public Services Nurses Union, Venerable Muruttettuwe Anandathera, public representatives, trade union representatives and many others were present at this occasion.
Now, in some news regarding the development of the country, Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawarddena says that all stalled development projects will recommence in February after the discussion with the foreign creditors following the completion of the agreements of the debt restructuring. These development projects will be recommenced. The minister made these remarks at the media briefing held in the President's Media Centre today under the title of Collective Path to a Stable Country. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawarddena said that 150 million rupees have been allocated to the district development committees under the relevant chairman for road development. Additionally, 50 million rupees have been earmarked through the Ministry of Rural Affairs for the development of small roads. Minister Gunawarddena further addressed the financial landscape, emphasizing the need for careful consideration of income and expenditure in the challenging year ahead. In 2022, the government's total tax revenue amounted to 1,751 billion rupees, with 72% allocated to government employee salaries, pensions and 506 billion rupees spent on Samurdhi allowances and support of the less privileged. The minister highlighted that the challenge of balancing expenses, including interest payments on loans, 1,065 billion rupees, and capital expenditure of 715 billion rupees. He reported that the earnings of various government departments, such as the Inland Revenue Department, Customs Department, Excise Department, and Motor Vehicle Commissioners Department, despite an increase in income from public and various strategies in 2023, expenses outpaced revenue, resulting in a deficit. He also said that in 2023, the government spent 2,160 billion rupees on subsidies, 2,263 billion rupees on interest payments, and a total of 4,394 billion rupees to run the government, while its income for the year was 3,201 billion. The government borrowed extensively, with 10,091 billion rupees borrowed domestically through treasury bills and treasury bonds. He further said that looking ahead to 2024, development schemes are slated to begin in February after the restructuring of debt and finalizing agreements with creditors. Notably, a $60 million loan from the World Bank and financial assistance from the Samurdhi Fund will be utilized for road repairs. Despite financial challenges, significant allocations have been made for the chairman of district development committees, with 150 million rupees for road development and an additional 50 million rupees for the development of small roads. The restructuring of foreign debt has reached its final stages, paving the way for the resumption of paused development projects.
We move in for a short commercial break. We'll be back with more local stories. Do stay with us.
Vegetable price is a topic on everybody's mind. Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaravira says that the reason for the price increase of vegetables is due to the destruction of vegetable crops due to the excessive rain.
Our correspondent says that the price of vegetables have slightly decreased at the Thamuttegama Special Economic Centre compared to yesterday. Traders in the economic centre say that there is a decrease of attendance of vendors to the centre these days. They request the retail traders to come to the centres to purchase vegetables. Meanwhile, at a discussion held today, Minister Mahinda Amaravira expressed his views regarding the price increase of vegetables. Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaravira said that the price of vegetables have increased due to floods of excessive rain. These reasons have caused a severe setback in vegetable cultivation. The minister has warned about the situation 4 months in advance. The first challenge we present is to increase the production by cultivating vegetables at home garden level. The vegetables like carrot and leeks are sold at 1,500 rupees or 1,700 rupees per kilo. Due to the shortage of vegetables, the farmers can demand higher prices for their little produce. However, prices of vegetables may decrease As the ministry, we assure that more vegetables will be available by the April New Year season.
Now in more local news, service of several employees of the Ceylon Electricity Board who engaged in a protest campaign against the restructuring of the board has been suspended. The Electricity Board said that 15 shroffs have been suspended since they had disturbed payment of electricity bills by closing down the shroffs counter during the recent protest campaign. Deputy General Manager and media spokesman to the Ceylon Electricity Board, Engineer Noel Priyantha, expressed views regarding this matter at a press briefing held today. Deputy General Manager and media spokesman to the Ceylon Electricity Board, Engineer Noel Priyantha, said that some employees of the board have engaged in trade union actions on the 3rd, 4th and 5th of January. However, supply of power has been declared as an essential service by that time by a circular issued on the 18th of December last year. In addition, leave of all employees has been cancelled during this period. In such a situation, several shroffs has closed, the shroffs counters distributing the customers paying their electricity bills, causing them huge inconvenience. Therefore, the service of these shroffs was suspended for their irresponsible behavior while on duty.
Heshana Kuruppu has been elected as the new chairman of the Sri Lanka Chartered Accountant Institute. He is the 27th chairman of the institute. Heshana Kuruppu was elected as the chairman and Thishan Subasinghe was elected as the vice chairman by the votes of the members of the institute. The office bearers were announced at the ceremony held in Colombo yesterday. Chairman of the Mass Holdings Company, Mahesh Amaleen, graced the occasion as the chief guest. Veteran chartered accountant Heshana Kuruppu has 24 years experience in the accounting sector. He is the current chairman of the South Asian Accountants Federation. He is an old boy of the Colombo D.S. Senanayake College and has completed master's degree in financial economics and many other degrees. Sri Lanka Chartered Accountants Institute is a national professional body of accountants constituted by the Parliament.
The very fabric that makes this great institution what is today are the colorful and diverse threads that represent each of us. Over 65 years of weaving together this unique tapestry of CA Sri Lanka has brought all of us to this moment. We are a community of professionals committed to our country, individuals who believe in its potential and tirelessly work towards its prosperity. In the face of turbulence, we have stood as pillars of support for business, public, private sector and other stakeholders, offering our expertise and dedication to navigate through storm. As we stand on the horizon of our 65th milestone, I am filled with immense pride and gratitude to be part of an institute that embodies resilience, commitment, and unwavering values. Our institute vision and actions are deeply rooted in the core values of collaboration, excellence, nurturing, and integrity.
And now the famed Pushkin Award offered by the Russian government has been offered to a Sri Lankan national this time. This decision has been taken under the recommendation of President Vladimir Putin. A special ceremony was held at the Russian embassy premises in Colombo yesterday to offer this great award. It was offered to acting editor of Sinhala Encyclopedia, Ranjana Devamitra Senasinghe. He is the second Sri Lankan national who won this award. His contribution to strengthening language relations between Sri Lanka and Russia to enhance cultural relations of the two states was felicitated at this ceremony. Russian Ambassador Levan S. Sagarian offered the award to the winner. Minister Susil Premajayantha was also present at this occasion.
I am deeply satisfied with the current relations between Sri Lanka and the Russian Federation. At the end of the year, we had very successful visit of Mr. Nikolai Patrushev, his security advisor to President Putin, and he had very productive, good negotiations with His Excellency Honorable Mr. Vikramasinghe and with Defense Secretary Mr. Kamal Gunaratne. And we will continue such contacts on very high level in coming year, in this year as well. We will discuss it with our Sri Lankan friends very soon. Beautiful Sri Lankan people, ladies and gentlemen who graduated from the former Soviet Union, from the Russian Federation, and it's our proud to have very good relations with them because they are very helpful, very talented and beautiful people. And today we just, according to the decree of the President Putin, Mr. Ranjana Sinha was rewarded a medal of Pushkin for his contribution to our bilateral relations, for our cultural cooperation. He's a brilliant translator and he's acting editor of Sri Lanka National Encyclopedia. So I think we both, you and us, we can be proud of such people like Mr. Ranjana.
No, I think very little amount of people who knows Russian language very well were awarded with such a prestigious award all around the world. In Sri Lanka, Most Venerable Professor Palnekande Ratanasara Thero was the first laureate of this award, and I think that second person in Sri Lanka is me. Yeah, thank you.
And we will be back with some foreign news items right after a short break.
Prima Stella.
And we are back now with foreign news. Foreign media reports that 12 pupils and 2 teachers, a boat ferrying them to a school picnic, capsized yesterday.
Local police says that a rescue operation is still ongoing. A cause of this incident, which happened on Harni Lake in Vadodara, is not yet known. Around 27 people aboard the boat, according to local authorities. Police Commissioner Anup Singh told international media that as many as 7 people have been rescued and are undergoing treatment at a nearby hospital. He also said victims had not been provided with life jackets during the boat ride, according to Reuters news agency. In a statement on X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that his thoughts are with the families in this hour of grief.
Prima Kutumi, Pantamai.
In your sports news, Australia won the first test against the West Indies by 10 wickets. The match was played in Adelaide.
These two, tough card.
Batting first, West Indies scored 188 runs in the first innings. Mackenzie scored 50 runs. Josh Hazlewood and Pat Cummins claimed 4 wickets each. Australia scored 283 runs in the first innings. Travis Head scored 119 runs. The West Indies scored innings was restricted to 122 runs. Accordingly, Australia had a target of 26 runs for the victory in the second innings. Australia passed the victory target for no wickets.
And that was a look at your news broadcast here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan together with Malsha signing out for the evening.